Hello everyone, and welcome to Georgia Has a Very Distinct Taste in Book Covers. Hi, I'm Georgia. Today we're going to talk about how you can judge a book by its cover, and how I judge a book by its cover every single time I go to the bookstore. So, I've picked out what I thought would be less books that I have bought specifically because I think their cover is really cool. Some of them are by authors that I had read before or heard of before, but like a lot of these were just because they're pretty. And I realized while picking them off my shelves that I have 3, 4, 5-ish like distinct things that always will get me to buy the book. And I'm going to talk to you about those now. So the first thing is things that look like a series of unfortunate events. This is the 12th book in the series, and I remember distinctly seeing this at my library and thinking, I really need to read that, and then reading like part of it, not knowing what was going on, realizing it was the 12th book, like why do we only have the 12th one, going to the public library, finding the first one. Anyway, I just really liked that it looked kind of like an older book than it was, and the back, like, obviously the description is like really cool, but I love deckled edges, and it just looks mysterious, like there's a lot going on. Yeah, so anytime I see a book that reminds me of this, I'm like instantly hooked because I know it's going to be some sort of like mysterious children's series. So that is why I got the Mysterious Benedict Society. Like, it had kind of an old-fashioned look to it, kind of a hand-drawn kind of thing, and there was a lot going on, and I could tell that it was going to be like something I would really enjoy, and it was. So yeah, definitely like children's mystery type secret society books, which is definitely a niche, but love those. Okay, so the next stack of books I know I bought purely because they're shiny, which sounds dumb, but looking at my shelves, there are a lot of shiny books, and I think, like a pigeon, I'm very attracted to shiny things. So the first one that I've always thought is really pretty is The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender, and if you tilt, you can kind of see that it has like a coppery thing going on around the edges of the feather, and I've always thought this is like such a pretty book cover. So yeah, and I actually listened to this as an audiobook, which was lovely. I recommend that because whoever read it was like really good. But anyway, yeah, love this one. Also, this one, Eve & Adam, which I read a super long time ago, but yeah, so she like designs a perfect boy or something. Anyway, it's been a long time, but I remember liking it specifically because this was shiny, and like something about this cover just drew me in. And like I don't like, it's simple. That's another thing that's going to come up, is that I really enjoy a simple cover that's like clean, and there's just something about this, like, look, it looks like the lightning or the electricity is like sparking on its own. Like, I don't know, love it. The next one is very shiny, and that is the whole reason I got it. Look at that. Oh. It's so pretty. I only got a little tiny ways through, but I do remember, I don't know why I stopped. Like, I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it. But basically, there's people that have tattoos all over them. Yeah, and then when they die, they like make books out of their skin, and anytime you do something like important, you get a tattoo or something. I don't remember really. I'd like to read this one day, but anyway, super shiny, super pretty. That's why I bought it. The next one, same deal. Look at it, shiny. This was also like fairy tale related, and it has a lot of really good reviews on the back from authors that I had heard of and stuff. But come on, look at it. So pretty. It also has this like woodsy thing going on, which you'll realize is a trend later, but there's just so much to look at. It's so pretty. The last shiny book that I got specifically because it was shiny is this one. I've never seen this movie. Like, I think the movie would creep me out, to be completely honest, but something about this just, I couldn't not get it. Look how pretty it is. And inside, all of the pages have like drawings around the edges. I couldn't help it. So I'm definitely gonna read this at some point and then maybe watch the movie if I'm feeling up for it. So the next type of book that I mentioned before is books that have like foresty, earthy things happening on them. So the first one that I can think of is The Darkest Part of the Forest by Holly Black. And again, it has like a really cool quote on the back that kind of drew me in, but I've always thought that this is so pretty. The outline of the letters is made out of like ferns and things, and it's so pretty, so I had to get it. This was the first Holly Black book that I read. I think I had The Coldest Girl in Cold Town when I bought this. Also Deckled Edges, come on. But I got this and then I read this first because it was prettier, and I still haven't read The Coldest Girl in Cold Town, but one day. The next one is Egg and Spoon by Gregory Maguire, and this was also the first, I think this was the first Gregory Maguire that I ever read, and it was set in Russia, and there like Baba Yaga's in it, and there's a Fabergé egg, and it's really cool. A little long, like it was definitely slower in some parts, but it was really fun, and I just thought, for one thing, it's sparkly, and then something about this font, like just how big it is and how like kind of handwritten, like oldish it looks. I don't know. Every time I saw it at the bookstore, I was like, wow, that's pretty, I need to get that. So I did, even though no one I know has ever read it. And the cover is pretty too on the front. Like, it's kind of it almost looks like it's cut out of paper and layered, but not as woodsy as the last one, but still kind of has that vibe. This book, Tree, also something about this kind of like handwritten font thing going on always gets me. This is actually a children's book. You make 3 wishes and then you have to believe in it, and it's a tree that grants your wishes, maybe. I haven't read this yet. It's number 1 in a series, and that like instantly made me 10 times less likely to read it because I was like, oh god, I'll be getting myself into a series, no thanks. But I do want to read this at some point. Sounds good, and I liked the cover. It's pretty. Okay, so this book was super weird, and I don't remember that much about it, but I remember liking it enough, and also look at it. Look how pretty it is. Again, with like the dark background and white words, something about the like inversion of color, but like it has all these little berries and fruits, and like there's an owl, and again on the back there's a quote that's kind of mysterious. So yeah, I couldn't help it. Like, look, so pretty. Same deal here. I actually got this specifically because it was also by Leslie Walton, who wrote The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender. Yes, that is what it's called. And I really loved that book, so I was hoping that this book would be similar, or I would get to have her writing style again, and it was good. Not as good, but still entertaining. And that is The Price Guide to the Occult. And look at this. Again, dark background, really stark, bright letters, and then look, it's red. Like, come on, folks. This is like one of the prettiest covers I have. I love the way this book looks. I love that it's hardcover. I wish I had Ava Lavender in hardcover, but look at it. It's so pretty. And the last one that kind of fits in this vein is Ben Tripp, the Accidental Highwayman. Good lord. I've never heard anyone talk about this book, and I have still yet to read it, but it's shiny. There's a tree. There's interesting fonts. There's a lot going on to look at on the cover, but it's still like kind of simple red. And then on the back, there's a note to the reader, Lemony Snicket-esque. Like, I couldn't not get it. Also, it's yellow underneath with a little bee on it. Like, come on. So pretty. Oh, and it has deckled edges. I love deckled edges. Like, I don't understand how people don't like them because they're so good. So the next, like, semi-category, I don't have that many that I bought for this particular reason on my shelf, but there's two. I'm really into medieval stuff, so anytime I see a book that looks like it's going to have a medieval time period setting or medieval characters or like influence, then I'm much more likely to buy it, especially if the cover looks like a medieval manuscript in some way. So one of those is The Relic Master by Christopher Buckley. This R and this M and the C, the B, all kind of looked like medieval lettering. And then it was about relics, which were super popular and important to medieval Christianity, so I knew that I had to read this. And then the beginning of the blurb starts with a Monty Python quote, like, how can you not? Also, it has deckled edges. So I actually first read this from my library and then really liked it and then had to get it because I knew I would want to probably read it again or like recommend it to people or just be able to look at it. So yeah. And then on the back there is a portrait, which is important for the story. The story follows, I don't remember what his, Dismas? Yes, who buys relics to sell to people, and he only will sell real relics, and he like prides himself in the fact that he won't buy any of the fakes that are cheaper. And he has a friend who's an artist, and there's like a heist kind of deal. It's pretty cool. So anyway, definitely recommend this if you're into the late medieval, early Renaissance period. Also, it's pretty. And then I also have this by Jo Walton, which is called Lent, and it had a medieval like monk kind of guy on the front and also a giant medieval demon. Like, come on, people. And the font is super medieval. And then when you look inside, if I remember right, this is a little bit later. This is more like early modern Renaissance, but right at the beginning, on the cusp. So I have yet to read this, but I keep wanting to because it's set in Renaissance Florence and hell. So like, come on, people. So yeah, and then the next one I wanted to talk about that's really pretty is Bridge of Clay by Markus Zusak. I haven't read this yet, but I loved Book Thief and I loved I Am Messenger, so I feel like I'm bound to love this too. But I liked that it had like these kind of soft imprints of things that are kind of subdued, I guess, on the white background. So yeah, look, there's a typewriter, big fan, and it doesn't have deckled edges. I thought it did, but it's still really cute. So another huge thing for me is when I'm buying contemporaries, I'm really drawn to like a very clean, simple cover. So I have lots of examples of those. Wintertown by Stephen Edmund. I read this from the library first, but I really liked how it was dark, and then you just have the white of the illustration at the bottom. And this is actually kind of a graphic novel. It's like interspersed. So, and then Genuine Fraud by E. Lockhart. This is so pretty to me. Like, It's mysterious, there's hair, also it's a signed copy, and I love E. Lockhart. I haven't read this one yet. I've actually heard really bad reviews, but I can't get rid of it because I feel like I have to read it because E. Lockhart wrote it, and also it's beautiful and signed. So like, another one, Vanishing Girls by Lauren Oliver. I really love the spine of this. It's so light, and it's just very subtle, and it's really pretty. And I don't usually like people on the covers, but I feel like just this little bit is enough that it's doing something, but it's not like showing me just a face of a person. So My Heart and Other Black Holes. I've always thought this is pretty. It's like raised, so it almost looks like it really is embroidered, and I've always thought this is so pretty. That's another thing, is that like I like either really dark books with light writing or really light books with dark writing. Like I have a bunch of this kind of like off-white color. But yeah, here's another one, Eleanor and Park. Very simple, clean. I love this cover. Carry On and Fangirl are both also kind of like this. They're very like matte, one color with like little details. We Should Hang Out Sometime. I also thought that this was really pretty when I bought it because it's like kind of that handwritten font again, very simple, clean. And then It's Kind of a Funny Story by Ned Vizzini. I thought this was cool. I like that it's a map, but also very clean. Like I love this yellow color, so I think that's very well done. So yeah, those are a lot of the book covers of things that I bought just because they were pretty, or started reading just because they were pretty, and then bought like the rest of the series because I actually really liked it. So yeah, I would say for the most part I'm drawn to like atmospheric, woodsy fantasies, mysterious children's books, and like emotional contemporaries, I guess. Contemporaries with a message, contemporaries with very basic covers, and anything that seems medieval. So yeah, I don't know what that says about me, but that's it. Those are the covers that I think are pretty most of the time. Let me know what you think, and thanks for watching. Bye!